I learned that resigning to something does not always mean losing. Sometimes it's the bravest thing you can do. What I left behind, it was not just a title or a crown, was the place where I forgot who I was. To give up was to look in the mirror and say, enough is enough. Enough of giving where you do not value yourself, enough of pretending. Strength when I'm falling apart inside. Enough waiting of others what only I can give myself. The hardest thing was not to let go of the relationship, was to let go of the idea I had of myself. Within this relationship, I was the wife, the companion, the one that was always the one that held. Even as it broke and suddenly, no longer, it was nothing like that. I didn't even know who was left when it was all gone. But there I was, standing there breathing, trembling but alive, and I understood that giving up would have been to hold on. Close your eyes, hold on. To turn to stone, not to feel, but I wanted to feel. I wanted to touch my skin again and recognize myself, wanted to cry freely and laugh without guilt. Wanted to break me? Yes. But to put myself back together better. So I didn't give up. I only chose to leave. I chose not to pretend anymore. I chose to stop carrying what no longer belonged to me. And although the world saw it as a fall, I knew it was a leap into the unknown towards me. No map to paint, only the deep desire not to remain the same. My days were no longer governed by imperial schedules and royal duties. No more receptions, no more impostured cells, no more controlling every word. Not to brag, for the first time I had room to breathe. And that silence scared me at first. Because in the noise I knew how to move, knew how to respond, how to hide, how it happened. But in silence, I appeared without filter, without protocol, without expectations. And it was uncomfortable. It hurt to see me face to face with no excuses, discover everything I had allowed. All I tolerated out of fear for love, for weakness disguised as patience. I sat down with myself and didn't know what to say, because it had been so long since I had heard my inner voice that I had almost forgotten her. But I didn't move. I didn't run away. I was not filled with noise to distract myself. I stayed, I listened to myself, and little by little she returned. The girl who dreamed, the woman who one day thought she could love without getting lost, the one still there waiting to be rescued. Not for a man, not for a kingdom, for me, because no one can give you what you don't give yourself. And I needed to give myself permission to heal. Permission to start without knowing how. Permission not to have all the answers, and yet follow. Healing was not a moment, was a sequence of small decisions. Choose to get up when the body was asking to give up. Choosing to eat when the snow extinguished the appetite. Choose to walk when the soul was moving. It was like relearning to live, to exist without the rituals of the palace, without the titles, without the we. Just me, and I discovered that the pain had layers. It wasn't just for him, it was for me. For everything I let go of, for everything I accepted in silence, for everything I did to be enough. And yet I was not. But instead of hating me, that's why I decided to forgive myself. Forgive me for not recording earlier, for not having protected myself better, for having loved so strongly those who did not know how to support me. Forgiveness did not come from one day to the next, but it did. And with him, peace. Not the peace of having it all figured out, but the peace of not needing to have it all. I began to appreciate the silence in the afternoons without plans, the moments when I could cry without hiding, and laugh without permission. Every step was a victory, even if no one applauded him, because I did it for me, by the woman who was once lost and now began to meet. In the middle of all that, without looking for it, something new knocked on the door, a letter. Carefully sealed, written in measured words, but with an intention that felt sincere. It was not a declaration of love. It was not a promise, it was a gesture. A hand extended from afar. He said he admired my fortitude, my composure in the middle of the storm, my silence that screamed more than 1,000 words, and although it was formal, there was something else, a warmth that was not disguised. I read it several times, not because I doubted it, but because something in me was stirring. Did not want another story. Did not want another wound. I didn't want to start over just to repeat the same thing. But this time, something was different. I felt no pressure. I felt no fear. Only, and if all was not lost, and if this time it could be different. I did not respond immediately, not out of, but out of some, because I now knew that any response should come from the truth, and my truth was still under construction. But that letter ignited a spark. A small light in a heart I thought could no longer shine, and in silence, without promising me anything, I smiled. Smile for no reason, without having to pretend, without anyone noticing, was new to me. It was light. It was a... I sighed in the middle of the wait. I took days to think. Not only in the letter, but in me. In what I wanted, in what he deserved. For the first time, I did not feel obliged to choose, did not have to decide between duty and desire. I just had to be honest. And that in itself was a victory. I started writing a not perfect answer. Not adorned, only sincere. Thank you for your words. I am healing. I still don't know where I'm going, but I am grateful for its light in this dark section. It was not an invitation, it was in recognition. Sometimes we just need to know that we do not pass unnoticed. That someone, even from afar, looks at us without judgment and offers us calm. That letter was not a solution, but it was a bridge. Between pain and hope. Between closure and possible. Between goodbye and maybe. And in that space, I began to believe that maybe I deserved something new too. I don't know if I will love again. I don't know if I will trust again. With eyes closed, I don't know if my heart will open completely again. But I do know that I am not afraid to try it. Because now love is not an escape. Is not a necessity. Is not a validation now. Love is choice, and choose me first was the greatest act of love I have ever known. Perhaps there is someone out there who doesn't want an empress, perfect but a real woman. A woman who fell and got up, that she was betrayed and still did not become bitter, who lost everything and did not lose his soul. If it exists, I will know, and if it doesn't, it is also fine, because I have me. And after all, that has been experienced. That is more than enough. If this story touched anything inside you, subscribe. Like us, share this voice. Because maybe out there are more people learning to paint themselves. And this story is for them. For you, for all those who choose not to give up,